Before this story ends, one man will face something no human should ever see. A forest where sound disappears, where shadows move on their own, and where no one who enters is ever the same again. This is not a legend. This is not a warning. This is the story of a man who walked into the Black Forest and came back alive. At the edge of a forgotten village stood a place people spoke of only in whispers. They did not say its name loudly. They did not point toward it after sunset, and parents warned their children never to look at it at night. It was called the Black Forest. There are some places on Earth that feel wrong. Places where the air grows heavy, where sound dies before it travels, where even daylight feels afraid to stay. The Black Forest was not just dark, it was watchful. Tall, ancient trees stood packed so tightly that sunlight barely touched the ground. Their twisted branches clawed at the sky, blocking out the world beyond. Even at noon, the forest felt like dusk. No birds nested there, though animals crossed its path, and those who claimed they had entered never returned the same. At night, the forest changed. Footsteps echoed where no one walked. Whispers called out names. Shadows moved against the direction of the moon. The villagers believed one terrifying truth. An evil spirit lived inside the Black Forest. Not a creature of flesh and blood, but something older. Something that fed on fear. Some said it lured people deeper with the voices of loved ones. Others claimed it showed false hopes and twisted visions until the soul was trapped forever. Fear shaped the village's life. Paths were built longer to avoid the forest. Houses were turned away from it, and prayers were whispered every night for protection. But fear did not rule everyone. There was one man who walked differently. His name was Arthur. Arthur was poor, poorer than most. His clothes were worn thin, his house small, his land barely alive. He owned nothing of value except a few goats, his only source of survival. Life had never been kind to Arthur. Hunger was familiar, loss was normal, yet hardship had carved something rare into his soul. Calm. Where others panicked, Arthur endured. Where others feared, Arthur trusted. He believed one thing deeply. Nothing could harm him without the will of Allah. Still, even Arthur had heard the stories. He had seen strong men fall silent when the forest was mentioned. He had watched people cross the road just to avoid walking near it. Then came the summer that changed everything. The grass near the village died. The water dried up. Arthur's goats grew weak. Each morning he woke to their fragile cries. Each night he counted them, afraid one would not survive till dawn. Arthur faced a cruel choice: stay safe and lose everything, or enter the Black Forest and risk his life. That night, Arthur stood outside his home, staring at the dark line of trees in the distance. The wind carried a low sound, almost like breathing. The forest felt alive. Arthur closed his eyes and whispered, "My life and my death are in your hands." At sunrise, Arthur made his decision. As he gathered his goats, neighbors watched in disbelief. "Arthur," someone shouted, "that forest is death." Arthur did not argue. He only nodded and kept walking. The moment Arthur stepped into the Black Forest, the world changed. The warmth vanished, sound collapsed, even his footsteps felt swallowed. The goats hesitated, their bells trembling softly. Arthur felt it then, not fear, pressure, like unseen eyes locking onto him. He walked deeper until the trees closed behind him, cutting off the village completely. After a long walk, Arthur found a clearing and released the goats. He sat beneath a massive tree, its trunk scarred and cracked as if it had witnessed centuries of suffering. Silence surrounded him. Too perfect, too deliberate. Arthur slowly closed his eyes. Then, thud. The ground vibrated. Thud. The air thickened. Thud. Something was approaching. Arthur opened his eyes. A shadow stood before him, not cast by any tree, not formed by light. It stood on its own. The shape was tall, impossibly tall, almost human, but wrong. Its body twisted unnaturally, its presence crushed the air, and its eyes, they burned. Arthur's heart slammed against his chest. "Who are you?" he asked. The answer slid through him like ice. "I am the one your people fear. I am the evil spirit of this forest." The trees trembled as it spoke. "Why have you entered my land?" Fear surged, raw and powerful, but Arthur did not run. "I came to feed my goats. Let me go, I mean no harm." The evil spirit laughed. Not loudly, not softly. It laughed inside his head. "This forest is mine. No human enters without paying a price." Arthur straightened his back. "If you try to harm me," he said slowly, "I am not afraid." The evil spirit's rage exploded. The ground cracked, trees bent, reality trembled. "You will not leave," it roared. "You belong to this forest." Suddenly, the world broke. Shadows ran like living creatures. The sky darkened. Time slowed until each breath felt eternal. Arthur felt himself pulled into a realm built from fear and despair. But in that darkness, Arthur remembered something stronger: faith. He raised his hands. "O Allah, help me." Light tore through the forest like lightning. Darkness screamed. The spirit staggered. "No!" it howled. "You have defeated me." With a final furious cry, it vanished into smoke. Silence returned. Arthur collapsed to his knees. Alive. When Arthur emerged from the black forest, the village froze in disbelief. He had faced the darkness and returned. From that day on, no one entered the black forest again, and Arthur lived with a truth few ever learn. Fear is loud, faith is stronger.